Welcome to another preview video. In this one, we're going to be looking at Everton against Man City. We're also going to be taking a look at Arsenal against Brighton. And then we will end up with that Coventry-Middlesbrough game, the second of the playoff semi-finals. And we'll start with Everton because they come into this on the back of that amazing 5-1 victory at Brighton. I think it took everybody by surprise. They were 3-0 up in the first half, as you can see there. They've scored in the last 3 games now, 8 goals across those 3 games, a defeat, a draw and a victory, so progressively getting better. This is a massive game, and I think what we'll see before this game is the Everton fans really showing the players that this is what it means. You know, we saw it at the back end of last year when they had these big games, big home games anyway. There would be flares, there would be crowds on the streets waiting for those team buses, and I think Man City's team bus might get a knock or two on the side, shall we say. The Everton fans will want to intimidate Man City, and City, we'll have a look at what they're doing at the minute. You can't really fault them. They had the draw away at Real Madrid in the week as well. This is just showing their Premier League form at the moment. So there might be a few tired legs, but, you know, if Grealish rests, then Bernardo comes in, or Mahrez can come in. You know, they've got quality, they've got depth. Haaland, if he misses out or is on the bench, then Alvarez can come in, who's been playing very well whenever he's featured. So you would still probably look to back Man City, but I do think Everton could get a draw in this game. And again, it's not the end of the world for Man City either, really, if they get a draw. They are playing first in this one, so the pressure would then be on Arsenal, who play at 4:30 on the Sunday. Apologies if you can hear the rain. The heavens have just opened here. We're going to take a look at Arsenal now, and we can see the home form. They've won 76% of home games, lost just 6%. We'll just go to their form to see who the loss was against, and it was Manchester City. For Brighton, bit inconsistent as of late, but still plenty of victories in there. They've lost to Spurs, Forest and Everton recently. The last meeting was a 4-2 victory for Arsenal, an away victory. In fact, the away team has won the last 3 meetings, and that includes a couple of victories for Brighton. Brighton are the away team in this case. That is quite interesting, really, given how these two teams play. We can do a prediction here. Let's look at the AI fixture simulation. This will simulate 5,000 fixtures using the probability model, which powers the value bets and other features around odd alerts, and you can hit generate here, and it will give us a score prediction of 2-1 to Arsenal. So out of the 5,000 games, 54.72 were for Arsenal victory. These are the most common score lines you can see, and then you can just take a look at the probability model in a bit more detail. We will go on to the Coventry game now, Coventry-Middlesbrough. So straight away, you can see, as the stats update there, if we go to overall form, and let's just take a look at the last 10 games, shall we, to see how these teams ended the season. Just 3 wins for Middlesbrough, and I think that partly could be because they ensured their playoff spot, and especially in the last game, they might have rotated. Incidentally, the last game was against Coventry, so you can see that Coventry actually, despite finishing 5th compared to 4th for Middlesbrough, they actually were in better form, picking up 1.7 points per game, compared to 1.2 points per game. It's still quite close. Let's take a look at the goals. You can see that it's actually Middlesbrough, despite not picking up as many points as Coventry, they have actually scored more goals during the last 10 games. They've scored in 9 of those 10 games. There hasn't been a 0-0 for Middlesbrough, which is interesting. And I think in a previous video, I actually looked at the BTTS percentage of Middlesbrough, and it is one of the highest in the Championship. If we go to the tables tab, we can just confirm or deny that. We'll hit BTTS, and we can see, yeah, it is Middlesbrough, 65% of all their games. Now, if we just look at their recent form, and before we do that, actually, let's just admire the form of Coventry. 1 defeat this year. No, 1 defeat since the 3rd of February. So, yeah, 1 defeat in a very long time. They are going to be tough to beat, and they'll want to make sure they don't lose this fixture in the first leg, because I believe that their away form is still pretty good. Yeah, as you can see there, away from home, they've not lost again since the 3rd of February when they lost to West Brom. They had a bit of a bad run, but when you look at the games they played there, they played West Brom, Burnley, Sheffield United, all away from home in and around Christmas time. Reading away 1-0. Maybe on another day, that's a different scoreline. But yeah, they can be excused for those 3 games there, West Brom, Burnley and Sheffield United. Now for Middlesbrough, that BTTS percentage, where does that come from? Is that from Michael Carrick? Is it something that happened at the start of the season and he's got it down? Well, we can see at the start of the season, the BTTS percentage was clearly lower because they're not scoring many goals. If you look at their away form, they fired blanks in quite a few of those early away games, and then they had a great run. And then, as we can see, more recently, they are winless in the last 4 games. They've won 1 of the last 6 games. So away from home, they are not looking too good. We can just take a look at that as well. So if we look at the away form here and the home form, and we go last 10 again, it is Coventry who are in better shape, albeit narrowly when you look at the last 10 games. If we look at the overall form of the season, 1.74 points per game at home compared to 1.26 away for Middlesbrough. So, as with the Sunderland-Luton game, I think this is going to be a tight one. I actually do think Coventry could nick a narrow victory here. I'm going to go 1-0 to Coventry. But again, it doesn't mean they're going to get to the final. I think Middlesbrough over 2 legs possibly will have enough. They are scoring a lot of goals, and in the second leg, that being at home, if Middlesbrough only need 1 goal to level it, I wouldn't bet against them. So that is a few of the games. If I just press 5 on my keyboard when it connects again, if I just press 5 on my keyboard, you can see the probability model output for all of these games, and you can see that that's it for the games in England now that the domestic seasons have pretty much finished. And this view, regardless of which league you go on or which country you go on, you'll see that these probability model outputs are available for the majority of leagues. So over 2,000 leagues that are supported on odd alerts, and you can scroll and they'll just stick with you as you scroll. So that's been another video. Please let me know what you think will happen in these last rounds of the Premier League. If Everton get a point here, and of course I'm recording this before the Saturday games, if Leeds lose to Newcastle, it's putting a lot of pressure on Leeds to get something from those last couple of games. I think they host Tottenham, don't they, on the final day. Just as with Everton, the home fans making that difference, being the 12th man, I absolutely do believe that it can be the case at Ellen Road as well, especially now Sam Allardyce is there. It's a bit of fresh air compared to, Gracia. They were just completely sleepwalking into the Championship. I don't think the fans wanted to go and watch it, whereas now, it's a new chapter. It's a bit of hope. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who do you think is going to get to that playoff final as well? Are we going to see Middlesbrough, Sunderland? I think that's what Sky want, if you know what I mean, in terms of the event and the size of the event. That would be better for them to market than a Coventry Luton final. But in terms of what the average football fan might want to see, Coventry versus Luton is just as romantic as Sunderland versus Middlesbrough.